Hey, good day. Welcome again to the principal's desk. Today we are gathered here, and I must first, of course, introduce my co-host. I've got Mr. Mathibedi, and I've got our co-host Mpele, who, by the way, you are not going to see her today, but you will just hear her voice. Today we are graced in our principal's table talk by none other than Mr. Ngobeni, who is a school leader, and that is in the Tshwane North District. He had a school out there in Soshanguve. Mr. Ngobeni, welcome to our principal's table this morning. We look forward to actually have some insight insofar as your journey is concerned. Without further ado, I'm going to just tell us maybe a little bit more about the journey thus far as an educator. Now you are a school leader. How has the journey been thus far? Over to you, sir.
No, thank you very much. It has been an interesting journey for me that I got an opportunity to acquire some skills and knowledge over the years. I've been a PL1 educator for quite some time. I think since then I went up through the ranks, became the HOD, and became the deputy principal. At the moment, I'm a school leader, and I've been leading the school since 2010. So it's my 14 years of being in the pot of cooking things in the school. So it's been interesting, and it's a wonderful journey for me. Thank you.
Yes. If I may ask, that you mentioned that you were a PL1, which is just a teacher.
Yeah.
Can you just share with us the importance of going through the ranks for you to be a school leader? Why is it important to go through all those ranks?
I think it's very much important because it helps to broaden your experience when you are being nurtured and under the leadership and guidance of people who are your immediate supervisors. So it helps because you acquire some knowledge so that you are in a better position to challenge the next position. So it helps because without that, if you never went through that, you will be parachuted, but with the gaps. And the institution that will be leading will be at risk if it's not going to be dysfunctional. But there are chances that that institution, somewhere could be dysfunctional because you are there, but you are having some gaps yourself as a leader. Right. So I think it is very much important to go through the ranks because it prepares you, to be in a better position to guide and lead the people that will be under your leadership. So it's very important that you experience the positions that people are set before you. So it's very much paramount that happens. Thank you.
And on that, what kind of qualification, like someone want to be a principal, what qualification would you say, this qualification prepared me the best to actually be in this position?
Right, it's a very good question. I've seen some leaders who've got qualifications that are not relevant in a way into leadership, but the one that I would recommend that people should have school leadership and management, since you are going to to deal with management issues. So I think it's what I can recommend to people, whoever wants to to become a leader. If by chance maybe you became a leader, I would advise that at least try to pursue this course so that at least you learn something from that. Have some theory but also experience in terms of what you should have gone through, and because you expected to put that into practice. So I think leadership and management is a relevant one. thus far, I think it's very relevant if we're having that one.
Okay.
Thank you.
As a school leader, we are expected to be disciplinarians.
Okay.
For both the learners and the staff. Can you briefly share with us your understanding of discipline with regards to the learners and the staff?
Yeah.
Or maybe let's say, what procedure do you follow with regards to disciplining the learners and the staff? Remember, for the smooth running of the institution, there must be some sort of law and order kind of thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Please just share with us, take us throughout the journey.
Yeah, discipline is broad, but if it is approached in terms of dealing with it in terms of looking at the hierarchy of implementing the measures, it's important that at least people should have an understanding of that. A school without discipline, I think that school or that institution, according to me, is doomed to death. It's a school that will not see the light of the day tomorrow, because the aspirations and the ideas and the dreams of the learners, they are in fact embedded or are based on discipline. In fact, if there is no discipline, it's like you have a vehicle without the engine. So I would say maybe discipline, it makes the cornerstone in terms of whatever all activities that needs to happen at a school. It should be based on discipline. So there's nothing that we're able to achieve without implementing discipline. But coming to the learners, it's important that you should have the code of conduct that should be in place, so that it set out clear procedures and processes in terms of handling a discipline. Because without that one as a guideline, you might find yourself implementing a measure that is not relevant, that cannot remedy the situation. But coming to educators themselves, we have the Employment of Educators Act, of which it makes provision in terms of your Section 17 and Section 18 to determine the kind of misconduct that might occur, and so that if you know that this is a gross misconduct, then you know what steps to follow, and you need to apply it consistently and acting on it promptly, just to ensure that you engage in terms of progressive discipline that will provide the steps for you, more especially if it's a Section 18 misconduct. Obviously, you may need to provide counseling. It's something that should be handed on your table. But a Section 17 misconduct, a gross misconduct, that probably you may need to pen down the report. For example, let's say a learner has been corporally punished. That kind of a situation is not something that you can handle it on your table. You need just to engage on preliminary investigation and get some learners who are going to be minor witnesses of the state, and then you refer the matter to the relevant unit so that they conduct an investigation. Yeah, so I think it's proper that we have that kind of a situation, so that we have an understanding in terms of which measure should be put in place.
Before my co-hosts come in, there's something that you mentioned that is very important there. The code of conduct for the learners, or learner code of conduct. Could I kindly ask you to briefly outline to us how do you mediate the learner code of conduct to the learners and the parents? Because it's very important that before you implement it, that all stakeholders within the school understand it. So please briefly share with us, how do you mediate it to the learners and the parents?
Yeah, a very important one. If you look at SASA document, in terms of Section 17, it makes provision in terms of the function of the SGB whereby one of those, it should be to draft the code of conduct and other policies. So once that is formulated, it should be taken to the parents, so that is mediated in the parents' meeting, so that they give approval. And you need to also keep records in terms of the attendance register, so that everyone it could be evidence to say people were consulted in this regard. And at some times we take advantage when we do admission. We also try to attach the code of conduct to the application forms, so that parents are informed, more especially the new parents. They've got to, like, they join us during the beginning of the year. You might find that they were never there by the time we're mediating it. Then you just attach that code of conduct. But you still need to be mediated to the learners anyway. But it's important that maybe during assembly with the learners, you address the issue of discipline and outline the procedures in terms of that. But even taking it further in the classrooms, that teachers should, together with the learners, agree in terms of the classroom rules that are derived from the code of conduct. So I think it's important, but we must also be aware of that, that when parents have adopted that document, it has to be ratified at the district, so that it becomes a document that we can rely on, and a workable document. Otherwise, without it being ratified, anything can happen, and you can't rely on that. It cannot guide anyone. So it's important that we follow all the steps, so that it's taken to the extent of ratification. Then we can rely on it and use it as a working document.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I just, sorry, you know, when we talk about discipline, I like the fact that you mention consistency.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
When you're applying discipline at any company or any institution, you need to be fair and consistent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So how do you keep then the balance? Because as a leader, you sometimes play devil's advocate. Because you lay down the rule, but you still need to be supportive. So how do you keep that balance? How do you maintain that balance, just, to ensure discipline in the school, specifically for, let me start with staff members as well.
Yes.
So specifically with staff, while, having a conducive environment for the staff members.
Right. Thank you very much for that question. What I can say, there should be no point whereby discipline is not applied at a school. At times I believe that while you are busy dealing with correcting the misconduct of whoever, whether it's a learner or a staff member, at the same time you must be mindful of the fact of supporting that particular person. Like when we say you should provide counseling, because at that particular that particular point, that learner or that educator or that staff member, it's going through a lot, but it also needs the leader. Even if you are responsible in terms of instituting disciplinary proceedings, you also have to play a role of supporting that particular educator. And in terms of educators, we refer them to the employee assistance program, because there are those that sometimes we mistake them as misconduct or insubordination, and yet you are dealing with mental illnesses. So you need to establish the root cause, so that you're also going to refer appropriately to the relevant structure. And in terms of the learners as well, the steps have to be followed. At times it warrants counseling. At times you may issue a letter of concern to the learner or even the staff member. But what I like is that at the school, while you are, let's say in case of a learner, while you are dealing with discipline, at the same time be mindful of the structures that are there at the school, more especially your SBST. So the school-based support team is a behavioral issue sometimes. A school-based support team plays a major role in assisting to correct the conduct of that particular learner, because the target for us is the misconduct. We are not being personal and dealing with that one. So it has to be handled consistently. But discipline doesn't, discipline shouldn't say race and gender. I would say we must apply it and avoid being stereotyped. Apply it in a manner that even if you have the girl child, when you put a measure, it should be equal to both girl and the boy child. Because if it's done inconsistently, in fact, the learners must be aware to say, if you have transgressed this rule across the school, what kind of a remedy is going to be, or a measure that is going to be applied. So I shouldn't wake up like yesterday, maybe today I wake up, I try to punish it, just to correct your behavior in a manner in which I think it should happen, the way I think for that particular day. Tomorrow, for the same offense, and you apply a different measure, so it becomes inconsistent. It becomes inconsistent. So, when it must be done fairly, so it becomes unfair. Because at the same time, then these ones, they should be learning. But however, it's also important in terms of when you say this can run concurrently, handling discipline at the same time, giving support. At times it's important. If you look at, for example, if it's learners, if you check, maybe if you look at the cause of the problem, you feel you cannot do it alone. You have got sister departments that can come in place. More especially, you may involve the social workers. You may involve even adopt a corp. It depends what kind of misconduct is it, because then you have to take it to the extent whereby you involve the structures in the surrounding area to assist pertaining to that. But at times, since I mentioned in terms of SBST, there's this conduct whereby you can wake up and you realize that nothing is happening, but this learner might be in a wrong place and may need to be referred to a special school, for argument's sake, right, to a special school. But if you still compromise discipline, you neglect it, that learner may be a dropout in the future because it's not been assisted. So it's important to support and try to assist and not neglect it. That you are giving support, then you leave discipline. So it must be applied until you have exhausted all the measures and allowing support to move on. Say, for example, it gets to the point whereby a learner is suspended. We are expected to, in fact, we are not supposed to violate the right of education to that particular learner. So it's important that while you are supporting and at the same time you're recommending that the learner should be suspended. It's suspended but must be given work, and the learner must be supported even at home so that he or she carries on with the work that is supposed to be done. So you can see it's running concurrently, right? So you are not compromising something at the expense of the other thing. So at times we lose focus due to sometimes competing priorities. You feel maybe you are harsher, you are very strict. Maybe you think when you are, giving this measure, you must neglect the other one. So I should propose that it should, run concurrently, because you see what I've also realized that learners were not supported at some point. We do have learners who have skilled their parents due to the fact that from primary school they were neglected. We were not correcting and we were not giving support, and then they become dropouts. And these learners are found by the magistrate to be on the other side of the law. Absolutely. Yeah. So if they are given support, then we avoid jailing them, because more support is being given and we are making them aware. But if we neglect due to other things, we run the risk of exposing them and making them vulnerable to dangerous things that they may not control themselves tomorrow.
I think I have just one more thing from my side.
Yes.
I like the understanding that discipline is about correcting behavior.
Yes.
It's not about pinning or getting somebody into trouble. So we're trying to rehabilitate.
Yeah.
We're trying to correct behavior until a point, depending on the seriousness, obviously, of the incidents. Then that's where measures are taking place. But at least it runs concurrently with supporting and correcting, so you don't neglect one. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think when I'm listening, it's really quite profound. How you shared it. I'm just like, as a school leader myself. I'm saying, I'm looking into say that there I would have met and I've got to learn now to say, oh, this is how you address this. And I must also make mention. People are hearing the voice. It's Neo at the back there. Neo, just when you ask the question, say, ask from me. I'm still chairing. Emmanuel, may I come in? And one thing that I would like to check with you, Mr. Ngobeni, is what are the common disciplinary challenges that you encounter on a day-to-day, in your school, and how do you handle them practically? And I just want you to actually unpack, something that is very common and how you handle it. Yeah.
Right. There's a problem of bullying at my school. I think that one is too much, and the learners were disruptive in classes, and many times they are referred to my office. And what I'm trying to push, to try to assist, I'm saying we need to gather evidence so that we are not seen to be victimizing the learner. And because, for example, if a learner is bullying other learners, if we have graded the offenses in terms of the code of conduct, we are going to know in terms of the necessary steps to be followed. Say, for argument's sake, I gave example in terms of Gabriel, but let me give this one. If a learner is assaulted another learner very seriously, you can see that one is a criminal offense, and it may not be like handled at the school level. But at the same time, it's reported to the police station. But at the same time, you carry on with the code of conduct in terms of implementing the necessary steps. So bullying at school, if you look at it, what we are doing at the moment, we sometimes conduct such as Caesar unexpectedly. That is the way to try to minimize, as long as they know at times we come. Because this is what I do. Now, because the department, they came up with the program of assistance. I'm able to get the males and the ladies. I allow them, let's go and search. In a day, we finish the school. Right? We check the bags and everything. Then we're able to, to concertize them, to say, we are here. And the element of bullying are not entertained. And I've had a situation whereby there was this learner who would be waiting for the other learners in the toilets to say, you cannot enter here. That person is demanding some money to say, you pay, then you utilize the bathroom. Wow. So, yes, otherwise without money.
Yes. In high school, they say it's protection fee.
They say it's protection fee.
I don't know how you've been protected, but
there's a protection fee.
Our kids are going through a protection fee.
It starts from primary schools.
It starts from primary?
Yeah, it starts from primary schools. So once that matter is brought to your attention, you get to act decisively and promptly, because when you say discipline, it needs to be attended to it in a prompt way. So it's important that you act promptly to just try to remedy the situation.
Maybe in the bad.
Yes, yeah. But because if you look at that, if we sometimes invite people to come and address the levels, bring awareness in the form of a program. More especially there are those NGOs, structures in the community. Maybe they talk about substance abuse, and other things, but they are addressing the matter. So you see, it's a neutral voice now, still assisting the school in the area of discipline. Others, they dramatize it, and they're able to see it that you may land into trouble once you carry on with this. But we are also relying in terms of going to an extent of inviting the police that they come to school and address the learners. And those ones who are disruptive and very problematic in terms of the area of bullying, when we invited in the police, they're able to, to talk with them. And some, they end up at least changing. Some of them, sometimes there are schools where we say these are special schools. There are those when we say, you invite the parent in to say the learner is done 1, 2, 3. Right, and most of them, these learners, they don't want to go to this, the so-called, we used to call them stud schools before. Once you make mention of that, to say you don't belong here, you'll go to this type of a school. They don't want to go to those schools. And they plead with you. So it is a sort of a measure to say, because they are aware that things like this are happening. But we also withdraw some opportunities. You may find that this learner is disruptive, not focusing in class. It's very good in sports. It's very good. So even if there's the trip that is to be undertaken, even if you have paid, we pay back the money. We don't allow this particular learner to go with the learners. So they know, they plead with you, because that is the area that they are good at. They know they are going to undertake a trip, they're going to play sports and other things, and they love that thing. But the other thing that I am trying to do, because usually those who are disruptive, I've seen them, I know they don't do their work. When you check it, I ask them to come with their books. They can get to my office. It's referred by the teacher. So because discipline shouldn't be punitive. And what I try to do, because I know they are very slow, they don't want to work. When I check and everything, I may try in terms of improving their writing skill. I may ask you to say, write from here up to here, but using their storybook. I know they can't read, but they can copy. Right. But at the same time, they are improving their writing skills. But you cannot subject them to making them jump and everything. That is corporal punishment. So you try to avoid being physical. Find something. In fact, it's assertive discipline that must be in place instead. So, but at times we run the risk when a learner is brought to the office. You try to attend to it, and yet there are some loopholes. This learner was not referred to the immediate supervisors. So there's a loophole. Even if you institute disciplinary proceeding, already there's a loophole there. Because it must say the matter started here, and it was referred to the immediate supervisor. But if it came straight to your office, then because at times you may need to appoint discipline committee. Right? But once you have appointed discipline committee, what is important, they must have evidence in terms of what measures were put in place in trying to correct the behavior. Otherwise, from my office to the appointing of discipline committee, it's got some loop. If we say we want to suspend the learner, it's got loopholes already. Because the learner was not attended accordingly. It went up straight to you. And it's wrong. Then discipline committee meet and try to institute disciplinary proceeding. So obviously then it's wrong. Because I believe that when you have got many voices, other than from the class straight to my office, maybe another person shall have carved that situation. It was not even supposed to lend to me. I was supposed to get the report. Because there was a voice here of a teacher, another voice of a supervisor, and the deputy. Right? It shall have been finished somewhere there. But it came to the office. So there are those that will say, no, it shouldn't come straight unless it's a gross misconduct that needs my office, that I may need to attend to it. But there are those that will feel, because some of these, they just relegate their duty. They don't want to attend to it. Because as a principal, everyone must assist me in terms of maintaining order and discipline. But if you take everything to yourself, these people, they are the leaders of tomorrow. They may not know how to address matters like this one. So they must be given a platform to deal with those matters until they exhaust them. And I get the report if needs be. Unless they failed, it may be escalated and we shall have a relevant structure to try to remedy that situation.
I just want to come in quickly there because you did mention that you are at a primary school.
Yes.
And the main concern that you have, or the main challenge is bullying.
Yeah.
And a lot of people out there are not aware of that.
Yes.
And the other thing that is a huge challenge is the support from the parents of the learner that is bullying others, the bully, him or herself. So please share with us, how do you address such? For example, if a learner is a bully, then you call in the parents, and they have a way of retaliating these parents to say, that is not my child is not doing this. How do you handle, or how do you bring in parents to your side to make sure that they understand what you picked up when you were interviewing the learner? Because for example, it could be that there's a problem at home, but you don't want to say it directly to the parents. That leads to the child to be a bully. So how do you make sure that the parents are with you, they support you throughout the journey?
And maybe just to come in there, generally how to enroll the parents' body, because many a times as school leaders we find that parental involvement in some cases is not there, and that lead to some of those issues. You know, we are saying, specifically for that, parent of a learner who may have disciplinary issues, but generally as well, how do we ensure that we enroll our parents? What has been your strategy to actually ensure that these parents are enrolled and they are involved?
Right. Parental involvement is it's a major one that needs strategies, like we are saying it, and trying to get them involved. At the moment, what is happening, you do have those learners who are problematic, and some of them whose parents will come and confirm to say, I don't know what to do with this type of the learner. Now, because at times when you say we'll call your parent, because that is the first thing that we do, to involve the parent, hoping that when the parent is here, this learner will be very scared. But you have a situation whereby he's not even afraid of the parent. And then you are left there, you have to deal with it. And you run the risk of being physical at times. I've had some of my managers, some of the managers, who have happened to administer corporal punishment, maybe in the office. It is due to this frustration to say, you have called in the parent, both of you, you end up not knowing what to do to assist that particular learner. So that becomes a serious matter. But what we prefer, it needs to happen is to because at the moment we are saying, like when I say keeping records of the misconducts as they happen on daily basis, right? That what I expect, even if a learner is brought to me, I'm expecting at least the records from the class teacher, for argument's sake, to say the teacher has been trying to do 1, 2, 3, so that I showcase what the learner, because it might be like at times a parent has not been called, but on daily basis you are trying to correct the situation. So, but one other thing that it assists, you see, when you award learners, there are those that you are awarded in terms of displaying a good behavior. And to reinforce the positive behavior, some learn when they realize that people are being awarded just by displaying a good behavior. And then at times I've had a situation whereby a learner who was disruptive was given a responsibility and a task. Very disruptive, but we made this person to be a class captain. but they're very disruptive. And these learners change because of the responsibilities. I've done that even with the educators who used to come late. And I realized that this person is habitually late, coming late. And I said, you come, you are going to chair the meeting because I've got morning briefing. You see that person dressed appropriately, coming in early in the morning, and everyone was saying, this person has changed. It's because of the responsibilities. So at times you look at the way they conduct themselves, you just give them some responsibilities, and you may be surprised with that kind of a platform. They tend to change their conduct, and until you feel that you've tried something in trying to assist that particular a learner. So, but during parents' meeting, at times, since it's a general one, during parents' meeting, you know what, we meet, but we have to make sure that discipline issue, it is there. And you see sometimes parents will say, why is it happening like this? Because we are in the meeting and trying to also bring this element of discipline. So so we address it, but at times we invite the parents of the learners who are very so that you don't deal with a large group. You just deal, let's say there are learners from a specific class. You just call the parents of those learners, so that you are having a manageable number, so that you talk about this learner. But you've got to know them, these learners. What is it that they do? So you talk about them. But together, if they are there in small numbers, we're able to get even some inputs from them, because these are parents. It's not in a general meeting. It's for that particular class. They've got 20 parents there. They even assist you. For example, some might tell you to say, maybe we don't even have a code of conduct. Why don't we? Okay, the learner is not writing the homework. We don't see that, that the learner has been given a homework. So you realize there's a gap. The school is issuing out something, but it doesn't reach them to the parents. Why? Because you don't even have a diary where they record the work that has to be done as a consolidation at home. So it leaves you with a gap, but they could be also suggested by the parents in a meeting. And when you look at it, it's a measure that they propose, because these are parents, they've been learners, and they know, and they show you the gaps. Right. Some were even calling to say, when are we having face meeting? I'll just give an example. When are we having face meeting? Can you see now? Because they enjoyed it. They know it's a small number. We have gathered there, and then they've got an opportunity. Those who can't speak in a large group, they've got an opportunity now to address. And some of them, you realize they've got very good innovative ideas that were missing in a large group. But in a smaller group, you get those ideas. If you note them down, you report to the staff, then you start implementing those. So it becomes a serious challenge. It needs a way. It's still a challenge. This one, if you did at my school, it's just that we are trying. The way I'm trying to say, call them small numbers and everything, then you try to remedy the situation. But it remains a challenge. It remains a challenge. It's yet to be reduced. We still need to reduce it.
Okay.
You mentioned something about...
You said through... How many times must I say? You go now. By the way, Nero is behind the camera.
I must learn to follow protocol.
Follow protocol. Comrade protocol.
So you mentioned something about corporal punishment, which is something I don't want us just to drive past it. Right? Because we know it's unacceptable. Right? And we know what our teachers are going through. We can't play blind to that fact. We know it does get tough at times with the learners. And when we come in as HR professionals, we find the teachers guilty because we are saying you're an adult. You should know what, how or you should know what you're supposed to be doing in that particular instance. Move yourself away from the situation instead of acting and getting into trouble. But now I'm going to throw it back to you. How do we then ensure that we support our teachers through everything that is happening, just so that we curb this whole thing of corporal punishment, we can't still be talking about it, you know, at this stage. It does happen, like you said, in terms of frustration, but how do we support our teachers in that?
Right. I think some do happen due to lack of knowledge. You hire a person on day one, you don't conduct induction. The person just joins the people there, and this person is exposed. It means the office has failed this particular person. We disarm them, obviously, when we say corporal punishment, and they know. So first thing first, before what I do, I greet and talk about many other things, but I don't forget to mention this. But I've also, in terms of getting the support, to say displaying the posters that we've received from the department, and I frame them. So I know every morning we meet for briefing session, we refer them to that poster as a reminder. And at times we forget to remind them. We think it's okay until there's a parent who comes furiously so to report the matter. Then you become aware that, oh, it is still going on. But at my school, I went to an extent of confiscating the pipes that they are using them. Because they use they use the pipes to administer corporal punishment with. But others, including teaching, then they don't have anything like that. It is happening. So you got to revert them to legislative frameworks, just to capacitate them in terms of your SASA document. That talks to corporal punishment being abolished in terms of section 10 and the section 17 and 18. You got to look at it with a gross misconduct, and then you got to outline the procedures and what needs to happen. What they don't know is this. Like I'm saying, I'm expected as a manager to ensure that there is positive discipline that is being applied to prevent a misconduct to happen. It means I must capitalize on everyday meeting that we are meeting in the morning to keep on reminding them about the misconduct, and at times outlining steps that if a learner has been corporally punished, what is expected of me, because it's outside of my office, I just have to pen down a comprehensive report and send it to the department. And it's not easy, because let's say, for argument's sake, the teacher has been physical, has assaulted a learner. What is expected of me as a manager? They want the report, and when you want to, if you have to pen down that report, you still have to go to that class where the teacher is teaching, because you must get witnesses, people who are going to represent, who are going to be the minor witnesses of the state. So it means I come to your class, you are busy teaching there, and I check the learner has been punished, and I must get some witnesses from the same class. And you are even aware, because I don't have to engage you as a teacher. Then I must get the statement from these learners. They write the statement to say they've seen you corporally punishing this particular learner. So because these are going to stand as minor witnesses after you have got the consent from the parent, because you still have to get the consent from the parent. Inform them that there is misconduct in terms of a teacher who is administered corporal punishment. So those steps, because once the matter, you have finalized the comprehensive report, you conducted the preliminary investigation, because they tell me it's a preliminary investigation. When you go to class, get everyone, they write down the statement and everything, then you refer the matter or escalate it to the relevant unit. So even when they come to deal with the matter, it's you conniving with the learners against the educator. But I've once had a situation whereby at times you are pushed to the corner. But I was very lucky. Some, even when they see it like that, they know they've done something wrong. And as a principal, you had no choice. You had to move further. They still agree with you to say it's a misconduct, because when you say you still have to do your job, don't compromise a discipline, You still have to carry on with that. But at the same time, this is what I do. I even call that particular person. You say, okay, be careful of 1, 2, 3. Deal with this and that, because that person must also be assisted. The union will be dealing with it, but as a principal, I'm also assisting. So that it shows that we are not fighting. I represent the department, but at the same time, I still have to support what? The educator. So a corporal punishment, like we are saying, we shouldn't be talking about it. However, it is still happening, because you might not be having an object like the what you call, but you still use your fingers. It's still corporal what? Punishment. You subject learners to jumping and everything. It's still corporal punishment. You like in class, you tell the learner to go outside while you carry on teaching. It's like you have administered still corporal what? Punishment. So it has to be. It's a question of like getting people also to come in to assist. At times, talk to labor, people from labor, that you conduct a mini workshop in terms of Circular 1 of 2016, that it outlines the steps and processes so that people are aware about it. Other than giving them a copy, it's not even mediated. That copy we don't read in many cases. So we don't even file those. Once you have received it, it's thrown away. So you need to create a platform. You get somebody, or even yourself, just to conduct a mini workshop around this matter, so that everybody is capacitated. You know what? You will be surprised. But by the time you have spoken about that, you have concertized them. You know, from there they don't want to do it. They just forget as time goes by. You know what? At times we have got, because we are not the same in terms of our personalities. We have got those ones, once there is a matter, they react quickly to a situation. And they end up corporally punishing the learners. And that person regrets, and it has happened. So it needs us to still talk to it. You know, we are forgetful. We need to talk about it, conscientize them, if possible, on daily basis, until it bothers them.
Wow. Now, being that as it may, when we're discussing corporal punishment, I recall in my days as a student, teachers would say, you've got 3 of the best. So they were given a minimum, a maximum to say that, you'll go to the principal's office and you will have 3 of the best, which really was something that one would say, looking back, something that was supposed to be abolished even then, because, it did not take out the best out of some of the learners. There are learners that actually left school, dropped out because of corporal punishment. I remember vividly one of the boys that was very intelligent in primary, but had a problem of being absent now and again at school, and he knew the educators will give him 3 and 5 of the best. So this one day he knew he's going to get 5 of the best. Poor boy jumped out of the window, and he never came back to school. Is 30-something years ago, but I recall that experience very well, and I just can't imagine how would that boy have been. Probably would have been a very successful person, but because of corporal punishment, things didn't go out, well. So it really has done some damages in some communities. Being that as it may, being a principal is quite a challenging position, I must say, at times. I want to digress a bit and say, how do you charge? How do you ensure that you are still sane when it's all said and done? You are still in touch. You are still you do not lose yourself. What do you do outside of your job as a principal, just to recharge as a person? Because, in the frustrations, time and again, it's like principals will stay in the office for long hours, leave office at 12 o'clock, and, be there early. You're expected to do that, but then you are still a person. You still have a family. You have got to do all these other things, as a person. How do you find that balance? In HR, they will say work-life balance. By the way, HR practitioner, so they would say work-life balance. How do you strike that? How do you strike that balance?
I think that one is very important. That when you leave office, your office, find something. Because sometimes there are a lot of problems. You go to school, it's like they pile you with so many things, and at times you expected to carry out the duty, and something just comes. And then when it is like that, for me, this is what I do. I brief prayer. For me, it assists me a lot, because you're dealing with your soul. Physically, you are down, but you may need to uplift your spirit. So I believe at times through prayer it assists. But again, you also need to socialize with people, so that from your office you don't reach home, you start talking about what was happening at your school. The poor person doesn't need to know what was happening. In fact, you got to take off everything. Even when you get home, you don't make mention of what happened at your, because it's an extension. It's like you are still bringing it back. It cannot leave you. So I like most of the times composing songs.
Wow.
And start singing, doing poems, just to refresh myself. For me, it's very much important. And at that time, I've forgotten. Now I need a song. I've forgotten about the school, and all the problems that were there. I want to write a poem, given what is happening in the area. So you got to think. You got to forget about so many things. So find a person who doesn't have anything to do. That person, the mind is idling, then the school matters will be coming back and coming back and coming back again and again. So if you give yourself something to do, at times even cooking,
Wow.
You get home, you start cooking, you'll be shocked that you can cook.
No, I'm just thinking.
Because you're doing it to assist. Like what I do, you see, the clothes that I wear, I iron them.
Okay.
Get up and find something, ironing your clothes. You see, doing the daily chores, it helps you to take off things that are
to relax.
You are able to relax because you are busy doing something. But then also using social media, if you want to laugh at times, then you will forget some of the things because you will be at times checking and laughing, find something there. More especially those who are using TikTok, some they are cracking jokes. Yes, and then you are able to use that. But what another important thing, you must check what is happening in terms of current news. I like it sometimes, and I can't wait for the GNU to be back in Parliament. So that we hear what's happening. You start watching and check what is happening. Check in terms of current history, what is happening, so that you learn something outside the school and check what is. So don't remain behind. And the things that you talk about should be fresh things. So you are able to, to flow with the country and check what is happening, other than being irrelevant. Because at times, if you are not studying, you become irrelevant. But in terms of current news, then you are more relevant to the decisions. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to say thank you so much for for the time, Tatani.
Yes.
I learned a lot myself as a school leader, and I know that my friend here also learned a lot, and the HR personnel also learned a lot.
Yes. I'm jumping up and down.
Yeah.
Excitement because of sorry.
It's okay. Protocol. No, don't worry. We're wrapping up now.
I need to put it out there. I'm very happy.
Yeah.
I'm excited about how you talk about discipline, how you balance in terms of saying, as much as we need to make sure we run a school in a particular way. We've got policies, we've got processes.
Yes.
But how do I still get buy-in from my people? How do I support my people?
Yes.
And from an HR's perspective, we get excited because working with people like that who understand that it's not all punitive.
Yes.
We want to, restore and fix behavior. We get very, very excited. Before I get into trouble, can I just put you on the spot?
No, it's fine.
Ellen already told me.
I know. No. We will invite him to come and give us a note.
Yeah.
He will come.
I'll come specifically for the
note.
Yes, the note.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. I think it's very interesting, and maybe in that Mathibedi, I was thinking as we conclude this to say I wanted for us to just have a a question about when, let's just say it's your last day.
Okay.
Your last day in your office.
Okay.
Last day in your office. What is it that you would like people to remember you as a leader in your school? To say, this is my last day, I'm dropping the pen, or I'm ringing the bell, to say for the last time I'm in this office. How would you like to be remembered? What kind of legacy are you saying I'm going to leave? The footprints, your signature in that school. It may be 2 or 3 things. What would they be?
Now, firstly, I use an open door policy. My staff is free at any time to come and check with me for whatever thing. So, including the parents. When I engage parents, I deal with them in a respectful way. There was never a parent since I joined that school that when we were having some matters to deal with, that we never reach an amicable solution. Even during parents' meeting, what I believe in, you go down to win the parents in a manner in which you address them. So you don't bring your position and even your qualification, whatever. You go down to their level. In fact, respect. They know at my workplace that I prioritize that respect. I even teach my staff that even when we have a parent who comes furiously to deal with, I say, number one, we need to calm down the parent. And we go down. If we have to apologize, let it be, we apologize. And then we were able to win the parents in the community. So there is no parent at my school who will say or will claim that I've had time to meet with this person. He's full of disrespect. It's like you don't care about them. So the second thing, I've got time to listen to people. That is why most of the teachers, the staff members, I've got a sense of humor myself. You won't believe I run the school. So they are always laughing because there's time we work. When we work. When I go and approach them, we crack jokes and everything. Go to my admin, so they know it like that. Because I tell them that this is my home and I want this place to be my home. And it's good that we establish a good working relationship because sometimes we lack human skills, human relation skills. And that thing is something that obviously if you don't have that, it's more like if you lack values, that values must be taught to you. So it's embedded in you, and you got to maintain that the school must run. At the same time, there's social responsibility that you need also to be mindful of. So I know. But one last thing, since this is my 14th year, what they know, I've never missed any meeting.
Wow.
Yeah. Parents meeting, parents meeting like anytime. I've never missed that one. I make sure that I'm there. At times let's say Saturday I'm gone, there's a meeting on Sunday. I'll make sure in the morning I'm here. So I don't want to give an apology for anything. I want to be there because you earn respect. At times they want you as a principal to be there, to talk to them. So that's how you win the community. Because when they come, it's more like when you go and attend the meeting, the teacher of your child is never there. How do you feel? The meeting is okay, but you also wanted to see the teacher. Yes, of your child. That teacher is not even there. Not necessarily to talk to that teacher, but the presence of that particular person. So at times I know that my presence, even if I'm not going to address on the day, I'm just giving an example, but my presence means a lot to everyone who is there.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Wow. Yeah. I'm the only one who is taking notes, and I can seriously say, yes, I'm going to have a sense of humor. I'm going to listen, and I'm going to be there. Come, whatever that may, I will be there as a school leader. And I think those are very key things that you would like to say, when it's that last day,
definitely.
You have been a present principal, a principal who listened and to your staff, a principal that they can laugh and cry with.
Definitely.
Thank you so very much, Tatana and Ngobeni. Can't touch up the care.
You can see.
From us,
Thank you.
From us at principal's desk, it has been a wonderful moment to just share those insights, and you can say, go for Tatana Ngobeni. And I so believe people out there, the principals out there, educators out there, and indeed parents out there, you have enjoyed yourself, and we have learned quite a lot this day. Thank you so very much. And from the three of us and the lady behind the camera, Chacha.
Thank you so much. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Thank you.
Jump.
Thanks, guys.